as promised, I said I'll talk about tombs. And how about the first emperor of China? How about his tomb, which has not been excavated yet? We're able to excavate, to found. Well, we know where it is, but we feel like it's not the time, not the appropriate time yet to excavate, to take out all the burial goods. I'm going to tell you why. But tomb, what kind of, this tomb, what does that mean? What does that suggest? It suggests a strong understanding, a strong pursuit for the afterlife, at least for the elite, at least for the emperor, at least for the ruler. First emperor of Qing. And, recap just a little bit, right? Used to be scattered, splitted all over the place. The different countries, different rulers, different kingdoms ruled different territories. It was the first emperor of Qing who united this vast territory and make it into one Qing, right? Into one dynasty, the Qing, one of the first in history to have control over such a vast territory. What would his tomb look like? Well, let me give you a hint, because he, Emperor Qing of the first emperor of Qing, he lived a short life. But even when, like way before he died, he started ordering, he started supervising the construction, the building of his tomb. And after he died, the building of the tomb is not completed yet, so it continued for a good decade until it was completed and the body of Emperor Qing, the first emperor of Qing, buried in there. This is grandiose, right? This is vast, would you think? But let me tell you, this is not even the tomb itself. Let me give you the map. What we see today, the Terracotta Warriors, right? All these underground armies that were excavated was just the army's vault built to accompany, believing they can protect the first emperor of Qing in the afterlife, right? Built to accompany the burial mound, the tomb, the actual tomb, some distance away from the tomb. Right? It's just built on the side. This is maybe not even an appetizer. This is the main course, which is not touched yet. We know where it is. We see this, this burial mound. We see it's kind of like, you see this little hill, right there. But we feel like we are not ready. And this is after study, might be the structure of this tomb construction. Right, but back to here. This is the army's vault, the Terracotta Warrior, and even as small as the army's vault, it's not fully excavated. It's this part. It's only this part. See here? Excavated section. This is what we see here is right there. Compared to the ones that's not excavated yet, and compared to the bigger main course, Emperor Qing's burial mound, you get a sense of the scope of this project. And through this project, you might get an idea of the scope of how strong they believe in the afterlife. Well, work with what we have for now. Let's just see what we found in this part, the excavated army. Well, we know this is some of the example of them. each man representing certain stations. They have different roles to play, kind of like an army, different hierarchy, different badges that they carry, different headdress. You can see the different headdresses, and you get a sense of their hierarchy. What else do I? And then it shows one thing, that's about the production process. That is the mass production. How are you able, right? We're talking about more than 2,000 years ago. And how can the first emperor of Qing organize such a big project? Well, it turns out one of the ways is to organize different workshops that specialize. Specializations already exist that early on. See, that specialize at, for example, the head, specialize the hands, and this is one, for example, a reconstruction of one of the workshops. We have women as painters, and we have someone who specializes different parts of the process. And then at the end, they do a little bit of the mix and match. Mix the head and the feet, right? Head and other parts of the body. So and mix and match, and so that you have all sorts of figures, all sorts of warriors being built, all from different workshops, different hands, to achieve that high level of mass production. A scholar, Lederos, wrote a very, very famous book, and it's in your textbook at the end of the textbook, that it's called 10,000 Things. And it shows how that in Chinese culture, how they're able to create so many things. Like if you go to a Chinese restaurant, you see on the menu, it's really long list of many things, but in back of the kitchen, it's just maybe just one chef who's doing the same thing. What's the trick to that? The mix and match. They have different ingredients, and then they mix and match different ingredients to create the different items on the menu. And very similar wit was used in making the Terracotta Warriors. That's accompanying first emperor of Qing's necropolis. What else do we see in this Terracotta Warriors? Well, we see that Confucianism, we see the hierarchy being moved to underground. We see the hierarchy in the different status, right? Different rank in their headdresses in the army, and we see the different ranks in the officials, ranks of the official. For example, we see chariots, but these chariots, they're ridden by different numbers of horses. For example, if you are a lower rank official, you can only ride one horse. Higher, 2 horses. Even higher, 3 horses. And then all the way up to the emperor, right? The top leader, he can ride 6 horses. The prince, the emperor, he can ride 6 horses. It's using this visual, right? This tangible labeling. The number of horse, for example, to label, to stabilize the ranks. Same with other things. Same with like dance. If you are lower rank, you can employ this number of dancers in your court, in your house. And if you're higher rank, you can employ maybe double of the number. That's Confucianism being played out, being utilized by the court. And now we see it in the tomb, because the first emperor of Qing is trying to recreate that world view, right? The intangible world view in the afterlife with tangible burial goods. That's the lecture about this Terracotta Warriors. But maybe a fun fact to show you is they're actually colored. They're very colorful once they were excavated. But just within maybe less than 1 minute, the pigment, because it's concealed from light for so many thousands of years, once the oxygen gets to the pigment itself, it evaporates until and it becomes all the pigments, all the colors gone. So actually our technology is not ready yet to preserve the color, preserve the terracotta or the burial excavated objects intact. And that's one of the reasons that we want to wait for a little bit until we tackle this big main course, the first emperor's real necropolis.